Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Shuey,
And I'm Tina Buckley.
and we're so excited that you're joining us today for Chemical Peel Online Workshop.
It's going to be so fun.
Woohoo! We're going to have a lot of fun today. So, just a little bit of background. If you're not familiar with our company, we were founded in 2007 here in Arizona. And our mission is to provide great products and education so that our estheticians can prosper and succeed. We are really here to support you, the estheticians. And our motto is estheticians empowering estheticians.
We're all about empowerment.
That's what we're here to do today, to give you some information. And we do that with our three pillars. Providing amazing products. We're going to talk about some of our amazing peels today. Our customer service, which is just amazing and absolutely stellar. Mm-hmm. And then we're a little biased on this last one with our quality education that we provide.
So let us know where you're from in the chat, where you're visiting from. Give us a little wave emoji. I'll be talking a lot about emojis because I'm obsessed.
So a little bit about myself. I have been in the industry here now for about 20 years. I was a massage therapist first, then became a licensed esthetician. I have a wellness center in Tempe that I still practice at, and I do massage, aesthetics, energy work, clinical hypnotherapy, a little bit of everything. So I love being in the treatment room. I was also director of education for many years with a school here in Tempe, Arizona. So absolutely love that everybody's joining us today to continue their education.
Fantastic. Boom. My name is Tina Buckley. I am the lead educator here at SkinScript. I'm a licensed esthetician, a licensed aesthetics instructor. I've been practicing skincare for about 10 years now. Energy work, and I have my own studio where I take clients on Fridays and Saturdays when I'm not here in the office. Love what I do. I've always loved skincare. Anyone else a skincare junkie out there, like obsessed? I'm obsessed. I know Michael's obsessed. We're all obsessed. Skincare and food.
We like to eat.
Let's kick this off and welcome everybody. Let's kick this off with some peel basics. So it's really important that we understand that not all peels are created the same. And it's really we teach this in every peel class because you'll see similar ingredients in chemical peels, but they won't necessarily be formulated the same in the same blends, in the same delivery type of system. So it's really important that we remember that each manufacturer, such as SkinScript, had something in mind when we created our peels. With that being said, you cannot cross protocols between peel companies because peels are created to be safe for clients. And if you start crossing protocols, safety is probably going to be a concern and in question. So don't cross protocols.
This is not the place to play chemist and explore.
No experimentation, no Bill Nye Science Guy situations here. So peels are designed, not something that's standard across the board. So I always utilize this example. So if you've heard these classes before, lasagna. Yes, food, lasagna with peels, right? So there's a basic lasagna recipe that everybody follows, but everyone may have like their favorite recipe or a home recipe. It can be a vegan lasagna. It can be, you can change the noodles. It can be gluten-free noodles. You can have a meat lover's lasagna. You can have a dairy-free lasagna. So lasagna is lasagna unless you're like super hardcore Italians out there and they're like, no. But it's designed to fit the specific need of the individual, or the person, or the practice. So follow your manufacturer's protocols for client safety and also for results within the peels. We frequently get asked questions. This company recommends this with their peels or recommends doing their peels this way. Why do you do something different? Because our peels are designed by us to be utilized by solo estheticians for client safety and efficacy. And then also we like to keep our peels really simple. So as we go through this, you'll see our peels are very easy, very simple, easy to use, and we want a really uncomplicated approach when it comes to chemical peel services.
And today we're going to tackle everything about peels. So I know you guys probably have a ton of questions you're going to be putting in the chat.
Yeah.
Give us a few moments to kind of get into it. We'll be answering a lot of your questions. And so a lot of your questions will probably come up. But we love questions, so put them in the chat and we'll do our best to get those answered for you. Or we might say, you know what, that's coming up, so listen up.
Perfect. And take notes. If you have the handout, please take notes. Yeah.
So as far as when you're doing peels or any release services, you really do want to double check that you know what your state board regulations are and also what your insurance covers you for. Make sure you know, can you do double exfoliation? Here in Arizona, we always joke and say it's the wild, wild west, and we can do double exfoliation, but we know there are some states out there where you cannot do that. So make sure you know your state board guidelines. Also know the percentages and pH restrictions that you might have per your state board or also your insurance. And if you don't have insurance and if you're a solo SE, make sure you go out and get that. There are a lot of great resources. ASCP is a great resource out there.
Yeah.
So please just make sure you're up to date with all of your regulations.
Yay, let's talk about some acid.
I want to talk more about lasagna.
Delicious. Do you know, to help cut acid in lasagna, like the tomatoes in lasagna, my dad adds cinnamon.
Cinnamon?
Yeah, it makes the tomatoes a little less acidic.
Can you taste it?
A little bit.
Now we've turned it into a cooking show. Cooking with
Yes.
Michael and Tina
Here
on
you go.
Tuesdays.
Let's say that cinnamon is the neutralizing solution. But for acid basics, so we have, let's talk about some particular different types of acids. So we have our alpha hydroxy acids. These are going to be water soluble. They're going to have a smaller molecular size, so they're going to be working superficially, like specifically within the stratum corneum. Their function is to dissolve desmosomes. And what are desmosomes? If you have been with us for a while, you know we're obsessed with desmosomes. So these alpha hydroxy acids dissolve desmosomes to really help with skin exfoliation on the surface. The skin types that are indicated for this are going to be dry, rough, mature, hyperkeratinized skin, closed comedones, textural issues and concerns. And some of the classic alpha hydroxy acids that are available in skincare, glycolic and lactic, are going to be your top two. And then we have some supportive ones, tartaric, malic, and mandelic. Well, mandelic is having a moment, though. So shout out to mandelic acid.
Woo.
So we have that going for us. But amazing. So we have our alpha hydroxy acids. Then we have beta hydroxy acids. So the most common is going to be salicylic acid. These are going to be oil soluble. They're going to have a larger molecular structure than your alphas because these are going to be going into the follicle to help exfoliate. These are going to be great for pore care, helping to reduce oil. They're often recommended for more oily acne-prone clients. And what's really amazing about salicylic acid as well is that it is a derivative of aspirin, so it is going to lend some anti-inflammatory benefits. But in that same breath, you always want to be mindful because if you have a client that's allergic to aspirin, salicylic acid is not going to be appropriate for them. So we always want to make sure, double check. And then we have some PHAs. So we don't have any chemical peels at SkinScript that are PHA based, but we do have some enzymes that contain some PHAs. So some polyhydroxy acids are another water soluble acid. They're going to be larger than your alpha hydroxy acids. So this is going to lend a more gentle kind of approach to exfoliation. These are going to be highly moisturizing, great for all skin types, sensitive skin types. Some common polyhydroxy acids are gluconic acid and gluconolactone, which we have in some of our products. And then a really common one is lactobionic acid, which is just really fun to say.
They all sound very spacey.
Right? Lactobionic acid.
Pew, pew.
Like the bionic acid.
All right, so let's talk about our AHAs, our alpha hydroxy acids. So they are water soluble and they are smaller molecules than our betas. And when we get into our peels later today, we're actually going to go through our protocols. We're going to be talking about two important things to know about your peels is, does the peel have to be neutralized or is it self-neutralizing? And then the second thing we need to know about each of our peels is it layer dependent or not layer dependent? And when we talk about our AHAs must be neutralized. And we're going to talk about how to make a neutralization solution with baking soda and water, and we'll share that recipe here.
Don't you mean cinnamon?
Cinnamon? No, let's not use cinnamon.
Cinnamon and tomato.
Cinnamon just for the lasagna. Although I'm gonna have to try that because I don't know about that.
We're going to talk about that throughout the whole experience right now.
So with your alpha hydroxy acid, you need to use the baking soda and water solution, not the cinnamon solution. And also, they're not layer dependent, meaning when you see us later, we're going to show some videos of application. We're just going to put a really nice layer of this on the skin, but it's not layer dependent. So putting more on is not actually going to give you a greater peel with that. So again, remembering to make sure when you're doing your peels, does it need to be neutralized or self-neutralizing? And is it layer dependent or is it not? And of course, on the screen, you can see some common AHAs or galactic. Now I'm thinking galactic.
Out of this world.
Glycolic, lactic, mandelic, tartaric, and malic. We're going to talk a little bit first about the most common two, which is glycolic acid and then also the lactic acid. So earlier, Tina asked everybody if we know what the D word is, the desmosomes. And did anybody put that in the chat there? We talk about desmosomes a lot, and those are those bonds that hold our cells together, our keratinocytes together. And the glycolic acid has the smallest molecular size of our AHA. So it's really good at going in and breaking up those desmosomes. So you're going to get some really nice exfoliation with glycolic. And on the screen there, you can see the little diagram of the anti-aging. And there you've got some of those keratinocytes, those skin cells, and the little slashes are kind of like the little bonds there, those desmosomes that are holding those together. And the glycolic goes in and helps to break up those bonds. So that way, we're going to help get rid of excess dead skin cells. We're going to help with texture there. So it can have a very nice anti-aging effect to it. And then on the left-hand side, you can see that glycolic is actually really good for mild acne. If I've got a closed comedone, which you can see represented there, I've got that dead skin that's trapping over that pore. Glycolic's going to help break open that skin so we can go in and then help kind of clean out the pore there. So when you see glycolic, think about great exfoliation there. It can be really anti-aging, helpful for texture, but it also can be used for acne, specifically closed comedone. Then we've got lactic. Lactic is going to be a larger molecule than your glycolic, so it's going to be a little more gentle than the glycolic. And we kind of lovingly here say lactic loving acid. And this is a gentle hydrating acid. It's actually going to pull moisture up from the dermis into the active layers of the epidermis. And it's a really nice hydrator. It is going to provide exfoliation because it also is dissolving desmosomes. It's just not going to be as strong as the glycolic acid is going to be. So these are your two common ones. These are our AHAs that we do have in our peels. And then we've got some other AHAs. And these are more supportive AHAs. They're going to be larger molecule size, so they're going to be a little more gentle than your glycolic and your lactic. And mandelic, we love mandelic here. It was naturally from bitter almonds, and we here at SkinScript use synthetic acids. That way it does help to remove any possible allergies. But when you're using any line you're using, find out how they derive their acids, because it's always important to patch test if you're not sure. So when in doubt, always patch test a client. But mandelic is really great because it is brightening. It's also antiseptic, so it's going to be really great for acne. It's going to be really great for helping with any pigmentation issues. Then we have tartaric and malic acid. And these two are going to be great supportive acids. Tartaric naturally came from things like grapes, the malic from apples. And these are really going to be a lot of times in products to help with pH ranges. And so you're going to kind of see them as supportive acids in some ingredients.
So it's important to remember with alpha hydroxy acids that other companies may have blends with the alpha hydroxy acids with other acids. Ours are just on their own for our peels. So other companies may have blends of alpha hydroxy acid peels that can be layer dependent. We don't. So it's really important that we remember that all peels, remember, are designed with something in mind.
Our lasagna is different than everyone else's lasagna. And here's the neutralization solution that we were talking about. So our AHAs, our glycolic and our lactic, need to be neutralized. And this is a solution that you can utilize in your treatment room. It is costs pennies to make. It's really easy. And basically what you're doing is, for a single serving, you're going to do 1 cup of water to 1 tablespoon of baking soda. I personally like to make it in a gallon jug, 1 gallon of water to a 1/3 cup of baking soda. You can just give that a really nice shake before you use it. And that is going to be what we're going to use to neutralize. And later, we're going to go through the protocol. We're going to show some videos of how to neutralize. So we'll get into those specific topics in a little bit when we actually get to the protocols. But this is a really nice way to have an affordable way to neutralize that. You also see on there, our peels will talk about how long we leave them on the skin. But you'll see with our AHAs, they can be left on the skin up to 7 minutes. Now, you may have a client who says, I want a really great peel. Leave it on like 5 minutes longer.
Like Marie.
Like Marie. So we use Marie as our client for a lot of times. So if Marie tells me, hey, Michael, I want a better peel, leave it on my skin for 5 more minutes.
How many of you remember Marie?
So is that going to be beneficial to that client for me to leave the peel on longer than it says? No, not really. At that point, it could start to actually have a negative effect on the skin. So please, it's really important, as we said, when you're doing your peels, if it says leave it on up to 7 minutes, 7 minutes is your max. Now, can you leave it on a little bit less? Definitely. Maybe if it's maybe their first time having a peel, or if the sensation's a little much for them, you could definitely leave it on 3 or 5 minutes. But please make sure if it says maximum time of 7 minutes, please take it off at that point.
And also, for safety, if you do make it in a gallon jug, please label it as neutralization solution or disincrustation solution, so you don't end up putting it in your steamer.
Yep.
And
we never saw that at school, did we, Tina?
No. Just you want to make sure that you label that. And plus, neutralization solution is a twofer. It can be used as disincrustation solution if you love to utilize galvanic. Raise your hand if you use galvanic in your treatment room. We'd love to see that too. So it's a twofer. Just label it. Label it for safety. And speaking of labeling for safety, salicylic acid, a common beta hydroxy acid utilized in skincare. So this is an oil soluble acid or chemical peel. And we love it because we have the actual molecules there listed because we're super nerds. But what's really cool about salicylic acid is it actually penetrates the follicle to help dissolve more oil within the follicle. So think oil attracts oil. Our salicylic acid peel is going to be self-neutralizing, meaning it does not need the neutralization solution to be removed, which is kind of cool. And our cranberry turnover peel, which is our salicylic peel, may be layer dependent if we're doing the alpha beta peel. So this is very different. We can't do multiple layers of the cranberry turnover peel, but we can do a layered peel in general. So in your pro guide or in your training manual, if you have that handy, you'll see the alpha beta peel, where this is a glycolic peel application, timed, neutralized, removed, and then the cranberry turnover peel applied in areas needed, spot treated, anything like that, timed, and then we remove the cream. That's the layering capability of it, but we can't add multiple layers of our salicylic peel. Also remember, if your client has an aspirin allergy, salicylic acid is not appropriate. You'll need to write that down when clients ask about medications. We need to make sure that they're not allergic to aspirin or any NSAIDs type of medications to kind of eliminate the possible chance of an allergic reaction, or worse, anaphylaxis. Have an EpiPen.
And we'll be showing you the protocol and application of the salicylic later on.
So beta hydroxy acid, salicylic acid, you see a larger follicle there with oily skin. Salicylic is going to be great for an oilier skin type to help with oil control and cleanup. Great for pore care, great for exfoliation. This is a very drying exfoliant. This is not going to be appropriate for clients that have a drier skin type or skin that's lacking lipid production. So always really be mindful. The cranberry turnover peel is super cute. I think it smells delicious. I think it's a pretty color. I love the texture, but don't be fooled. This is a very spicy.
She's spicy.
It's very warm. It's like a 9 out of 10, 9 to 10 out of 10.
But it's so amazing.
It's really, 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 really good if used appropriately for appropriate skin type and appropriate client. Just make sure with the cranberry turnover peel that you label it that it is a peel and not an enzyme or a mask, because it does come in the same jars. So you just always want to be really mindful with your cranberry turnover peel. It is a blessing in the treatment room, especially for pustules and cystic acne.
Are you having fun?
Some smiley face emojis. How many emojis can we plug into this? Let's see. Let's find out. Just no poop emojis, even though that would be kind of funny. What's super fun is trichloroacetic acid, or TCA. This is an incredible type of acid. This is neither an alpha or a beta. This is an acetic acid, which is both water and oil soluble, so it makes it extra special. It breaks down keratin protein, which our keratinocytes are made from. So it actually helps to break down and kind of dissolve skin cells into goo. Like there's something called keratocoagulation, where it just kind of turns everything into like gooey, cheesy, quesadilla type of situation. Our trichloroacetic acid, our TCA, quesadillas, lasagna and quesadillas. Let's see how many food topics
They must
we
be
can
really
inject in
hungry
here.
today.
I am so hungry. Hungry for TCA. So with this, it is not self-neutralizing. It is a very special acid. This is something that is left on the skin to absorb and will neutralize over 8 hours, which is amazing. And this is our only layer-dependent peel that we have at SkinScript. So layer dependent means the strength of the peel is going to come from how many layers you apply. And if you're wondering, well, how many layers can we apply? You can apply up to 8. I've only applied up to 6 on clients and 4 on myself. How many of you applied?
6 on a client and 6 on myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I know Lisa's done 8.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the protocols of these. We're going to get into videos of those. So I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions on there, and we will be going over each peel individually and talking about protocols. So
this is packed.
Yeah.
Important thing, remember, our TCA peel is safe for all Fitzpatricks. In fact, it was designed for higher Fitzpatrick types, and it is so amazing. A little bit more. So TCA, we love to use the acronym. TCA stands for texture, color, acne. So it really does help address a multitude of concerns. The peeling effect in downtime depends on the number of layers applied. So it can be applied up to 8 layers. That doesn't mean you won't get results if you do less than 8. Have been asked recently, do we have to do 8? No. 1 to 2 layers can be beautiful for some people. It also depends on can they peel. So trichloroacetic acid is going to be a more assertive acid that we have. And what's really special about this too is this has 3 powerful tyrosinase inhibitors to help with pigmentation and to help brighten the skin, especially stubborn pigmentation and perhaps post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from acne. So it does contain some azelaic acid that also lends some antibacterial benefits. It's also a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. So if you've taken our skin-intensive classes, you know that that helps to reduce oil production. So our TCA peel is a beautiful peel for texture, color, such as hyperpigmentation, and acne.
All right, so we're going to move into now kind of the roadmap to peeling, and we're going to really go in depth in each one of these topics, because if you've never done peels before, it can be a little daunting in the beginning. I know a lot of people are really nervous about actually the peel in the treatment room, but it's really the pre and post that is really important. Peels themselves are pretty easy to do as long as you know that your client is the right type of client for it. So we're going to talk about today how to qualify your client for a peel. who is actually going to be someone who's going to be a really great candidate, and more importantly, who's not going to be a good candidate. And we'll discuss that through an intake form, consultation, skin analysis. We're also going to talk about how we can work our clients up to peels. Typically, we're not going to give a client a peel a first time. We're usually going to start with enzymes to figure out how healthy their skin is, check for the barrier, and also to introduce some acids to see how well they do with that. We do want to always make sure that our clients are on good home care. We know good home care is what really makes change for the skin. And this is also going to help prep the skin. So we're going to talk about our pre and post peel kit and how to get our clients ready for peels so that they get the maximum benefit of the peel. We're going to talk about the importance of before and after photos, setting expectations, and documenting. I know documenting isn't the funnest part of our jobs, but
it's all over social.
It's really important. We're going to look at some different treatment plans. We're going to look at each of our peels and go, okay, how often can I do these? What's the best way to do these? And who is it going to be best for? And then we're also going to talk about how you have to evaluate. You know, you may have a plan in place and you get into a couple treatments and you realize, you know what, I need to kind of change my path here a little bit. It's like the road here. It kind of turns and swerves a little bit. So sometimes you've got to just go with the flow and adjust a little bit.
It's the journey, not the destination.
And then finally, hopefully you get your results from what you're looking for. And then we can talk about how to go into maintenance and continue with our home care from there. So we'll be hitting each one of these points as we go through.
So if you've taken a class with me, you know how hardcore I am about paperwork. In fact, I've had clients who are disappointed when I refer them out if I'm out of the treatment room. And they'll say, they didn't have me fill out any paperwork. I'm like, but how was the treatment? They didn't have me fill out any paperwork.
You've got them conditioned.
So, oh my gosh. Because people want a custom treatment and they want to make sure that you know what they need and what they can't have. So a client intake form is part of our professional service. Maybe not the most glamorous part of a service, but it's really, really important because the intake form has us looking for the client's skin goals and concerns. If you don't know their goals and concerns, how can you do a treatment? We need to know why they're here to see us. Even if it's just to relax, we can kick that relaxation up and we can give them the best service that we can. So skin goals and concerns, we want to determine our client skin type. People tend to overthink this. Don't have conversation with your client. When you see that they mark themselves as dry, but they have larger pores and they're concerned with blackheads, are they really dry? So it really opens up the conversation. We want to know what their current home care routine is. Is this client using home care? Are they using skincare at home? Are they not? We're going to have to determine if they want to peel that they're going to have to be utilizing some home care beforehand. And not Neutrogena SPF 100. That doesn't cut it. We want to know their work-play lifestyle. Are they flight attendants? Are they professional athletes? Do they work in an office? Do they work from home? Do they have pets? Do they hike? Do they bike? I mean, we're in Arizona, so we always have to be really mindful of sun exposure. Any previous services and treatments that they've had, have they ever had a professional facial service before? Raise your hand emoji if you have had a client before that has never had a facial before but has wanted a chemical peel. It's pretty common. We want to know what previous services and treatments that they've had so we can set up expectations so they kind of know what's up. And if they don't know what's up, we can explain to them and kind of empower them with information to prepare for their treatments. We need to know if they're using any topicals, prescription, or over-the-counter retinoids, brightening treatments, alpha hydroxy acids, because we may need to ask them to stop using those, especially if we go through a series. Allergies and sensitivities to keep the client safe and comfortable also is really going to help us with product choice. Any particular health issues, if a client has a chronic health condition, we need to have an honest conversation with them about expectations based on results and what kind of services we can provide so we can keep them safe and healthy. than any other types of medications. I don't get this a lot as a professional in my treatment room, people being upset about wanting to know medications, but I know in schools people tend to get a little nervous about giving students their medications, but it's really important that we know clients' medications because we want to keep people safe. That is why we're licensed by our states, to keep people safe, to have a good time, and to be obsessed with skincare. And we have a QR code there. So if you're like, oh, I need an intake form, that is a really good intake form. It's actually kind of nice, just the single page. Maybe I need to utilize that one a little bit more.
Is yours like 4 pages?
Yeah, it's so long. Do you like lasagna is a question on my intake form. Oh my gosh, these slides are so great. So improper skin analysis. Skin analysis is what sets us apart as professionals from TikTok, influencers, social media, celebrity influence, because this is part of our service. You need to be doing a skin analysis if you're a skincare professional. It is really, really important because if you don't do a skin analysis, you're doing an improper skin analysis. And let's look at the kind of vicious cycle that happens if you forego a skin analysis or you just look at their face and say, yep, that's skin. Yeah, you have a face. Amazing. We want to avoid that entirely because if you don't do a skin analysis, you're probably not going to pick the correct exfoliant for them, which can contribute to overprocessed skin. So let's say you don't do a skin analysis and their skin is in rough shape. Regardless of what's on the intake form, the skin analysis is showing you the moment, the present moment. It allows you to be in the present moment. And if the skin is in rough shape, but you didn't bother looking at it, you're probably going to contribute to overprocessed skin sensitivity, increased peeling, increased redness. And what that does is it leads to unpredictable outcomes. But here, let me talk about underprocessed. What's underprocessed skin? So let's say you have a client, you don't do a skin analysis, you do an exfoliant choice, but nothing happens. There's no results. You're not targeting what their concern is, and it's just kind of bleh. So we want to avoid that too.
Is that the technical term?
Bleh. Meh. What is meh? Is it MEH? Is meh? I like meh.
Meh.
Meh. Bleh. But we don't want that. So we don't want clients to be like, and we don't want them to be like, meh. We want them to be amazing. So we want to avoid unpredictable outcomes, which comes from incorrect exfoliant choice. And if you have an unpredictable outcome, you'll have unsatisfied clients. And what do unsatisfied clients love to do? They love to Yelp. They love to talk about it. And they also love to not come back to see you. And that's not what we want. We want to continue to see our clients and build those relationships. And the way we can do that is through a proper skin analysis. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 3 minutes. You're going to look at the skin. You're going to make sure there's no open wounds. You're going to make sure the skin looks healthy. So when you're looking at the skin and you have an idea of what's going on, you're going to be able to pick the correct exfoliant. It's all about making good choices. And when you pick the correct exfoliant for their concern, their skin type, how the skin looks in the moment, you're going to have a customized treatment for each client. And if anyone loves customization, it's your clients. They don't want to be your 12 o'clock. They want to be Marie. They want to be their name.
They want to be special.
They want to be special. So create that customized special treatment for each client. And when you customize something, and you know the skin, you know the exfoliant, you're going to have a predictable outcome. And with predictable outcomes, you're going to have ultimate client satisfaction. Now, we know that social media is definitely a way you can get new clients, but still number one is word of mouth through referrals from friends of friends. So satisfied clients love to talk about you and they love to refer you. And that all comes from a skin analysis. I know you may think that's crazy, but it's not. It's true. Because you know how the client's skin is going to react to treatment. You know which acids to select during the treatment. So when you have a treatment plan, you're going to know what's great for them. And in the future, you're going to be able to sell more services and set a roadmap for your clients for the future for their skincare. If they have any additional concerns, if they just want to reach out to you and contact you for information about products and what kind of services you feel they need. Proper skin analysis makes people feel cared for. And that's our job, right? To care for people.
Go ahead and give a shout out in your emojis to Skin Analysis there.
Woohoo! What kind of emoji would we do to celebrate Skin Analysis? Is it the 2 hands?
Could be.
No poop emojis.
Now we're going to get them.
To continue, if you haven't heard enough about consultation and skin analysis, consultation skin analysis is critical. It helps us decide on a treatment plan series. We're obsessed with a series of 6 here at SkinScript because it makes sense. We need to know what their issues are. We need to know if they can have downtime. Downtime is really important because we have peels that will be very superficial, minimal to no downtime, or we have peels that may have 10, 12, 14 days worth of downtime. So it's really important to know your client's lifestyle and what they can be available for. We want to think about which exfoliant. We want to make good choices depending on their skin condition and consultation form. So are these acids going to be appropriate? Is some mechanical exfoliation going to be appropriate? Can we play around with it? What can we use? And develop your treatment plan slowly. You don't want to perform a hardcore treatment the first time on a first-time client because it's too risky. You could risk injuring the client and you don't have a relationship with them, and chemical peels require compliance. So always start progressive and move up. Once you become comfortable, you can start combining treatments if available within your state. Your treatments through 2 through 6 to kind of amp up the ante in the treatment room. And it takes at least 6 treatments to see results. Why? Why would it take 6 treatments?
Ooh, I know.
What?
Put it in the chat box there.
No, you said you know.
It's cellular turnover.
Yay!
What's cellular turnover? Put it in the chat.
Takes at least 6 treatments to see results without freaking your client out and kind of eliminating like a traumatic experience with chemical peels. I think people are afraid because we have the words chemical and peel together, but it's because people think one peel is going to solve all their problems, and it doesn't.
It's not. It's amazing when you do the series of 6 and you work with that cell cycle.
Yeah.
Usually around 4, 5, and 6, those treatments,
Yeah.
you see such dramatic changes in the skin. And if you've never done it before, it's amazing.
It'd be like watching the pilot of like a show and you're like, oh, I love that pilot. And then you can't watch any other episodes. You'd be like, what? Or is that like is it one Pringle? You can't just have one potato chip?
Now we're back on food.
Food. How many foods have we talked about so far?
Lasagna, Pringles, or something else.
Quesadillas. Perfect.
All right, let's talk about Fitzpatrick scale. So the Fitzpatrick scale is really a classification on the person's complexion and their tolerance to sunlight. This is going to help us kind of figure out what could happen maybe with different types of peels or facials, how the client might respond. And we're also looking at the risk of damage from the sun. Our Fitz 1s and 2s have the highest risk for damage from the sun here. And when we're looking at this scale, we kind of want to make sure we always figure out what our client's Fitzpatrick is. And we do not do this just based on looks. We cannot look at a client and just go, oh, okay, based on the way their skin looks, this is where I'm going to classify them. That's an improper way to do that. We can use some different tools. There's a lot of great quizzes out there that you can utilize, and you can have your client fill it out. You can ask your client also a couple of questions. One of the questions that I might ask my client Marie when she comes in and say, okay, Marie, when you're in the sun without any SPF, what happens to you? Do you fry? Do you burn? Do you sometimes burn and sometimes tan? Do you tan really quickly, or do you just never burn?
What's frying?
Frying?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Your Fitz 1s will typically say, oh my gosh, I just fry. I fry like a lobster. They just turn red like a lobster. So,
are they breaded?
They bread with butter.
Breaded with butter.
So that's going to help us kind of figure out the scale. Your 1s and 2s are going to say they burn or they fry. Your threes are typically going to say, I kind of somewhat tan, but I sometimes burn. Your fours are usually going to be those people who say, oh, I can go out in the sun and I can be tan in, a day. That's typically what you're going to see. And then your fives and six are just going to say, I never burn. Now, if your client says they never burn, does that mean they don't need SPF? Put it in the chat. We know that Tina and I have had this conversation with people before.
Many times.
Sometimes with estheticians who have told us, well, I don't burn, I don't need SPF.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that's not true because we know that there's UVA, UVB rays, and everybody needs to wear sun protection. So always, always important. And up there on the screen, you can see we've got our sheer SPF, which is a zinc oxide there, and everybody must be wearing SPF daily, especially if they're going to want peels. And we'll be moving in and talking a little bit more about that. So we want to find out how the person reacts to sun. We also can ask them if they know what their background is, their heritage, where they come from. If somebody asked me that, I know from just a little history and also from doing some of the genetic testing and stuff that I come from Swiss and Irish. And so if somebody asked me those two questions, I would say, yeah, I burn. I really can't hold a tan, and I'm Swish and Irish. So that really puts me at a 2. I'm kind of your classic 2. You're also going to see in your 1s and 2s a lot of reds in the skin. When you get into 3s and up, that's where it kind of gets a little more olivey.
So I'm a 3, Eastern European mostly, and Cherokee.
You definitely have more of an olive complexion where I have more of reds in my skin.
Yeah, I can get tan really easily, but I avoid it.
And if you've ever been to my classes, you probably heard me talk about my client, Pat. Pat's been a client of mine for what?
We love Pat.
16, 17 years. And the first time I met Pat, she was a massage client of mine, and then she became both massage and aesthetics. But when I first met Pat, to look at Pat, I would classify her, if I was just looking at her skin, as a type 1, super, super pale. And so if I had done a treatment on Pat and just assumed that she was a FITS 1, I would have gotten into a lot of trouble because after Pat had started to kind of see me for massage, she came in, it had become summertime, and she had started doing water aerobics. And she came in 1 week and she was super, super pale. And she comes in 1 week later and she is so dark and she is so tan. And I asked her, I said, oh my gosh, Pat, how did you get so tan in 1 week? And she said, oh, I tan at a drop of a hat. But to look at her, you wouldn't think that. And I said, well, what's your background? Where are your parents from? And she basically said she was Irish, which made sense to me because she would be really kind of that fair Irish skin. But she also had a lot of Cherokee in her, which really put her kind of at a FITS 4 because she could get so dark so quickly. And if I had done a peel on her and I had just looked at her skin and said, she's a FITS 1, we could have had some complications there. We could have got some maybe post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So always check on the Fitzpatrick, use a quiz, get really good at asking questions. This is really going to help you out.
And if you're wondering what the risks are for different Fitzpatricks, for your lower Fitzpatricks, it's going to be more erythema, more vascular conditions for your lower Fitzpatricks, and your higher Fitzpatricks are going to be more prone to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and scarring. But luckily, all of our products are safe for all fits, but it comes from prepping. We want to make sure we prep. So cautions and contraindications, if you're like, whoa, there's a lot. Yeah. Yes, there is. This is
break it down.
This is also a part of the professional service. We have to know cautions and contraindications. And this is where kind of critical thinking comes in too. If you're unsure, don't do it. Don't risk it. Do something else other than a chemical peel if you are unsure that if it's safe for your clients, because we have these here for client safety. And our license, yes, is to practice skincare, professional skincare, but really safety is number one. So pregnant clients, caution or contraindication. This is a hardcore contraindication.
No.
Pregnancy or breastfeeding clients is going to be a hard no when it comes to chemical peel services. Utilizing any acids and or retinoids is going to be a no. I have had the pleasure of pregnant clients and breastfeeding clients wanting chemical peels and me having to delicately let them down that this is a no, but there's something else that we can do to support their concerns. Cold sores is going to be a caution and contraindication. So cold sores are going to be a contraindication if there is an active cold sore breakout that has just started or is still within the healing process. You will not be able to do a facial service at all. You will have to reschedule. Cold sores are a no-go. They are a communicable disease, so you can take a cold sore from a client's mouth and transfer it into another mucous membrane, into their nose, into their eyes. You can transfer it to yourself. You can transfer it through tools to other clients. So cold sores will need to be rescheduled. But the caution part is if a client is prone to cold sores, chemical peels can actually trigger a breakout or an outbreak. So we may want to let our clients know that. And if they're not comfortable with that, maybe you have to choose a different service, or you can have them kind of prepare for peels using particular medications that they could use to help prevent that. Antibiotics typically are going to be a contraindication for chemical peels, topical and internal. If you look at the side of some antibiotic bottles, they're going to create photosensitivity. In fact, they're well known to creating photosensitivity. And also with antibiotics, the body's healing from something, and we want to make sure we're peeling healthy clients, we're peeling healthy skin. So antibiotics are going to be a contraindication. Any recent surgeries, I remember a while ago we had a client who wanted a chemical peel and they had sinus surgery 2 days before. That's going to be a no. So we want clients to be healthy to peel. If clients are healing from surgeries or anything like that, we want to make sure that they're in really good shape before we do peel services. People can be like, oh, it's just a chemical peel, it's just a facial, it's just my face. Your face is still connected to your body, still connected to your nervous system. So we just want to really make sure that the client is in good health. With that, chronic health disorders, really be mindful with chemical peel services with clients that have diabetes, any autoimmune disorders, including lupus and sometimes RA or rheumatoid arthritis, Lyme disease, even fibromyalgia. You really, really want to be mindful and ask yourself, is a chemical peel really something that they can tolerate? Because usually the wound response and the wound healing response is going to be low, even for clients going through immunosuppression therapy. So their wound healing response is going to be low, so they're going to be more prone to infection if something's not done correctly, either in the treatment room or at home. So always really be mindful there. Any recent facial treatments, if your client got a full face wax from another SD the night before and then they're getting a chemical peel, probably going to be a no, unless it was you, but you should know better. Any laser treatments, including laser hair removal, laser resurfacing. Have your clients finish their laser packages beforehand before you do a peel series, unless you are in the same treatment room, the same med spa, and you have a series kind of designed. But laser treatments, just have them finish those on their own. Microneedling services, just a caution, if you're doing microneedling and chemical peels, we do not microneedle any of our peels or any of our products within the skin. So if you're doing microneedling and peels in conjunction, you want to make sure that you're separating those at least 4 weeks apart. Injectables and fillers, I feel like the common wait period is going to be about 14 days. Microblading, I've talked to other professionals about microblading. It'd be 2 weeks post microblading up to 4 weeks post microblading, because you do have skin that's going to be healing. You can include those areas, but you don't want to add any acids to areas that have been microbladed. Prescription topicals, such as your prescription retinoids or prescription antibiotics, prescription steroids, prescription hydroquinone, you're going to want your clients to be off those if you're going to do a peel series throughout the series. And it depends on the amount of time. I've seen people say 3 to 5 days for some. I've seen people say 2 weeks for some. So whatever you're comfortable with and how well you know your client and those topicals. Remember, if you're not comfortable, don't do it.
You are the professional. It's your license.
So sun exposure. If a client recently was at the pool the day before, probably not going to do a peel. If they're going to go to the pool after, probably not going to do a peel. So you also want to check their sun exposure. Along with athletes. So golfers, hikers, cyclists are really common here in Arizona. We have a lot of professional golfers here in Arizona who are going to be exposed to the sun. Probably not a good peel candidate. Home care refusers, peel hoppers, and peel junkies. These may be the most frustrating clients because they want results. And they want you to do something in the treatment room, but they don't want to comply to your recommendations outside of the treatment room. So peel hoppers are clients who will hop from ST to ST to get numerous amounts of peels. Peel junkies will be your clients who are probably doing a lot of at-home peeling. These are probably clients who use a lot of alpha hydroxy acids in general. Or clients that refuse to wear SPF is just counterintuitive. If clients feel they don't burn, but they want a chemical peel service, alpha hydroxy acids are well known to create photosensitivity. So it's really important that our clients wear SPF. If they refuse, you can refuse service, or at least educate your clients on the importance of, you're paying for a service, you're paying for results, pay to protect it.
Use your gut. If your gut's telling you maybe it's not right today, you can always say, you know what, maybe today's not the right time to do it, but in the future. So always make sure you go with your gut and your instinct on that. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about enzymes now. So enzymes, we love enzymes. We love our fruit-based enzymes. These are a great place to start with your client. It's a great way to find out how the client could respond. We have some enzymes that are just fruit-based and are great for first-time clients. We also have some enzymes that are have added acids. And this can be a great way to introduce your client to acids and see how they're doing. I think a lot of people think that peels are the end-all be-all and everybody's got to get a peel, but you can do some amazing results with just doing maybe a series of enzymes. This could be using enzymes to prep your client to get them ready for peels. Definitely, once you go through a peel series, you want to continue with your client maybe on some enzymes for monthly treatments. And maybe it's in between peel season. We're going to talk about peel season and when we should peel and not, due to weather conditions. But maybe when it's not peel season, this is where we're going to focus with our clients. And with our enzymes can be done once a week. They can be, if you have a client just coming in for their monthly facials, they're phenomenal for that. And so these are going to be just very in the treatment room, very versatile to use, and a great way to get your clients ready for peels. So I love this slide. Let's say you have that client who comes in and we're having the discussion and they think they want to do a peel. So maybe we're just doing a facial with our enzymes and my client Marie, she's saying, hey, I think I want to do a peel, or can you tell me more about peels? These are some wonderful questions to ask your client. So I might ask my client Marie, have you ever had a peel before? And maybe Marie says, yes, I've had one before. And I love this question because sometimes I'll say, what was it? And they'll go, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Or they'll say, oh, my sister had a peel and her skin looked great. Well, what was it? I don't know. So maybe they have, maybe they haven't. The next question I love to ask is, well, what are you expecting a peel to do for your skin? This is a great question because they may have something specific they want to work on. They may just not know, and they may just think, oh, peels can kind of fix everything. So find out what are the expectations, and then also how long they think it's going to take to achieve those results. I always try to teach my clients about cellular turnover, and that basically on average about every month, every 30 days, that epidermis is turning over. And it's going to take a minimum of 30 days to really see some changes in the skin. And I think we live in an Amazon world. We want it overnight. We cannot overnight your skin to you. So yes, we can see some beautiful post-facial glows and things like that, but it's going to take some time to make changes. So ask them how long they think it's going to take. What's their commitment level here too? Mm-hmm. Are they going to be able to commit to using, pre and post peel products? Are they going to commit to wearing SPF daily? These are all going to be really, really important. Another question, I think this is a really great one, is do you have a job where you physically can be peeling?
As an SD, like we can peel, we can go to work and look crazy.
But let's say you're a server, okay? You're working in a restaurant. Can you walk up to your table with flaking skin falling into your customer's food?
Right? Parmesan? Pepper?
Back to food. That's not going to work for that client. That doesn't mean they can't have a peel, but that can help you select the right type of peel, because we're going to go into our specific peels, and there are some that are going to have more effect on the skin of flaking and some that are going to be more microscopic. So this might help us choose one over the other. If they say they can peel, let's ask them, what are the best days for you to peel? So let's say my client Marie has a Monday through Friday job. What do we think? Go ahead and put it in the chat box. What do you think the best day to do her peel is going to be? We want to really think about this question, because if Marie has the weekends off, and if I peel Marie on let's say I could do a TCA on Marie, and I do it on Saturday, she's not going to peel Saturday and Sunday. She's going to start to peel probably like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be midweek.
This will be harder for me because I only take clients on the weekends.
Yeah.
So
and you may
I don't have
an
option during the week.
And your client may not have the option either. They may not be able to come in. But if you have the flexibility, it's probably better to peel that client Marie on Wednesday, because I feel her like on Wednesday night, she's really going to start to peel and see like the major peeling over the weekend. So sometimes you control this, sometimes you can't, but it is, a good question to ask your client. Can you peel? And if so, what would be the best down days to have for that?
Yeah.
So, are you willing to prep your skin? This is a really important question. We're going to go into prepping here in a moment. And if clients aren't willing to prep, they're not going to probably get the maximum results. And so I'd say to my client, if you're willing to spend all this money but not really prep your skin, what's the point at this point? So we want to find out how much are they really going to buy in here, and are you willing to wear SPF daily and reapply? This is so important. If you have that client who does not wear SPF, will not wear SPF, they are not going to be a candidate for a peel. So
probably not a candidate for facials either.
Yeah. We've got to educate them on this. Before and after photos are really important. We really need to make sure that we can take before and afters, because a client will start to forget what their skin looked like. And I don't know if you've ever done this. You've seen a older picture of yourself, and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize I looked like that. And especially maybe over 8-12 weeks, if I'm doing an 8-week series, my client might say, I don't know if I really see much change in my skin. But then you show them that before and after photo, and that really can make just a different perspective, and you can really see the difference in the skin. So the before and after photos are really important, and always please make sure you get a release form for that. And then what do you have going on in the next 2 weeks? We want to make sure that when we do a peel, the client is not going to have anything over the next really 2 weeks that's going to be putting them out in the sun.
Unless they're in a series.
Yeah.
So if they've committed to a series, it's going to be different. But if you're doing like supplemental peels, what do you have going on the next couple weeks is going to be critical.
Because if I go to do a peel and I'm like, oh, what do you got going on this weekend? And they're like, oh, it's my daughter's wedding. That's not going to, we're not going to want to do a peel there. So
they're going to look like Samantha from Sex and the City.
So always double check and make sure that, what are they doing over the next week or so? Because they may not be thinking about their skin a week to 2 weeks out from there. So just some really great questions. This can be a really great conversation maybe when you're talking to your client about peels, and to get a little more information from them.
And all those questions can be done during a consultation to even see if they qualify for a series. So you can have an hour consultation. They can pay for it. You can cleanse the skin. You can do a skin analysis. You can look in the skin at that moment. You can have an honest, candid conversation about expectations. And you can have a full hour consultation with your clients. It's amazing, and not even have to really stress. It's just getting to know your client in their moment. Consent forms are different than consultation forms. Consent forms are your clients giving consent to the service you're going to provide. Consent forms, and especially this one, can you read it? Because I can't. The print is really small, but I've seen this many times. So it goes through, there are no guarantees. It goes through, you may feel some sensation. It goes through, I will avoid tanning beds. Listen up. If you have a client that is going to be utilizing tanning beds, they're not going to be Peel clients. Don't let them sway you. They're going to say, oh, I won't go.
They'll go.
Because, you know, those endorphins from UV light are pretty addictive.
I just want a healthy glow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do I. Bronzer. I'll just do makeup. But they'll avoid going in the sun. This also has a photo release on there too. It does have in case of emergency. When I do the Peel class in person, everyone writes my name, which is hilarious. In case of emergency, they're going to contact me. Big Tina. But consent forms are going to be signed, initialed and signed before every service. So if you are doing a Peel series of 6, they're going to have one consultation form with all the information, but they're going to have 6 consent forms. I have been asked questions like, oh, you know, well, can they just sign a consent form for all 6 of the services? Yeah, they can do that for sure. But maybe the first time you read the consent form and thoroughly to them, and then you can just ask them if anything has changed or if they're still going to abide by that. But just make sure you utilize a consent form. Consent forms help you to protect your business. We live in a very litigious world, so it's very important that we utilize consent forms to help protect our business and also to protect your clients too. So I think when my clients panic about, you know, going and getting facials and they didn't sign anything, I think I've definitely conditioned them to be like, how come they're not having me sign anything? They didn't ask me if I had any allergies.
It also gives them the expectations, because on this consent form, it really does say, you know, what we're expecting of them to do. So it's kind of important that they understand that. And I always say too, with consent forms, if you give it to them and they just literally sign it and hand it right over to you and they haven't read it, it's really important that they understand each point here. So
That's why you want to read and review.
Yeah. I recommend either reading it aloud to them or having them initial that they've read everything or next to everything. You just really want to go over it. You could even go over the consent form when maybe the service before, when you're talking about it, and say, okay, here's we're going to do it next time. I'll have you sign it next time, but here are the expectations that we want to have you do to get ready and also after your procedure.
Perfect.
All right, so peel season. So when we were talking about enzymes, we said, you know, there's a peel season. And here in Arizona, it gets really hot in the summertime. And we typically stop doing peels here, I would say, depending on the weather, maybe May. And we might pick back up in October because it's just too hot outside. We're going to talk about things to avoid after a peel, and that would be heat. We don't want heat. And in Arizona, if we do a peel and our client goes out and they get in their car and it's over 200 degrees in that car, that can cause...
It's over 200 degrees?
Oh, yeah. It can be over 200 degrees in your car.
Where?
Here in the summertime.
In the valley?
Yes, it starts to bake in your car. Haven't you ever gotten in your car and just like, whoo?
I've seen 127, but not 200.
That's hot. It feels like 200.
Oh, it feels like that yes, but I'm like, I have never seen 200 degrees. Oh, boy.
Oy. But we want to watch it when it's too hot or it's also too cold. If you live somewhere where it's too cold, maybe the skin is like chapped and dried out, that may also not be the best time to do it. So when it's not peel time, use your enzymes. Use your enzymes to get the client some great results, what they need there. You can use those to prep them. So when it does come peel season, that way you're ready to go with it. So
love it. Now, preparing for a peel, I definitely I'm a prepare kind of person. When you prepare for things, when you're better prepared for things have a tendency to go a little bit more smoothly. So food prepping, anybody a sous chef or know a sous chef, they prep food before it is cooked. You study for tests. I'm pretty sure unless you're a student. Hi, students. If you're a student, what kind of emoji should we have a student do? Is there like a little wizard emoji for the students? How many students are watching this? You can, if you're a student, you are prepping for your state board. You prep for your driver's test. You can prep for a marathon. You can prep for so many things. And the reason why we prepare for these situations is to have success and to have goals and to really get results that we want. So passing the test, and peels are no different. The skin just performs better when it's prepped appropriately. So if your client isn't prepping, or if you don't recommend prepping before peels, your results are going to be meh. Probably not going to be as exciting as they would be if the client is fully prepped. So we do have a peel care routine, a pre and post peel care routine that consists of these. How many products are there? 8 products, woohoo, which are amazing to prep the skin. And we want to prep the skin at least a week prior to their first in-service in treatment room treatment. If clients have a higher Fitzpatrick type and perhaps they're really, really struggling with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation for breakouts, maybe you want to have them prep for 14 days prior to the first treatment. The best products that we have in our pre and post care routine is going to be our glycolic and retinol pads that have our tyrosinase inhibitors, our butane and kojic, to really help suppress pigmentation and also help to lift existing pigmentation, and of course SPF to protect the skin. So it's really important if a client wants to help eliminate possible post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, or if they're targeting current post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or any hyperpigmentation, they need to wear sunscreen. Otherwise, it's counterintuitive and it just won't work. Sunscreen helps protect the skin from post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and existing. So clients, if they're going to invest in a peel series to help brighten, they need to invest in SPF. It doesn't make sense if they don't. Am I right? How do you spell that? Am I right? So let's go through the peel prep routine. This is in a trifold that we have for pre and post peel care. So the morning routine is pretty intense. Just know this can be modified to fit your client's needs. So you can bundle up that kit in with your peel series, but you can always kind of modify and make a kit yourself with the products that you want. If the client can only have 2 things to prep for the peel beforehand, the glycolic and retinol pads and our sheer protection SPF 30 would be the 2 products that you can recommend to them to help prep before their peel. But let's check out this morning routine. So we have 2 cleansing options. We have the green tea citrus cleanser and the glycolic cleanser. It says use 3 to 4 times per week. If this is too much, you can back off, or if glycolic cleanser is just too much for you in general, you can just eliminate that. You don't necessarily have to use the glycolic cleanser. Why do we have the glycolic cleanser in the morning? We have it in the morning because it does not remove makeup. So glycolic is going to be really nice on morning fresh skin. Hopefully you didn't sleep in your makeup the night before. Big no-no. But you can utilize the green tea citrus cleanser or the glycolic cleanser in the morning. To exfoliate, we know the glycolic cleanser also exfoliates. It also has some arbutin in there, so it is going to be a brightening cleanser. The retinol scrub utilized 3 to 4 times per week. This is something I would do personally. I'm a little bit sensitive to the glycolic cleanser. It's wonderful for me, but I can use it maybe once a week. But the retinol scrub I can use 3 to 4 times per week. This also contains some kojic acid, which is a tyrosinase inhibitor to help prep the skin. Once again, modify the times. For toning, we can utilize the glycolic and retinol pads or the cucumber hydration toner. If you notice with the morning and the evening routines, you'll see the glycolic and retinol pads twice. If your client is a little bit more sensitive, utilize the cucumber hydration toner in the morning and the glycolic and retinol pads in the evening. This can be full face or just put directly on areas of concern. We have our citrusy nourishing cream, which I'm having a love affair with. This is an amazing antioxidant serum, which is great to help prep the skin. Hydrate Cactine Balancing Moisturizer has some prickly pear water and fatty acids derived from olives to help with oil-water balance within the skin. And of course, our Sheer Protection SPF 30 during the day. So the morning routine, you have some choices to kind of customize what you need in the morning. In the evening, super simple. Green tea cleanser, glycolic and retinol pads, Cactine Balancing Moisturizer. Do get questions, can we utilize the citrusy nourishing cream at night? You can. It's great during the day. You always want to utilize your vitamin C's during the daytime to kind of hit that circadian rhythm. But green tea citrus cleanser, glycolic and retinol pads to help with pigmentation and also preventing pigmentation, and Cactine Balancing Moisturizer. You can double cleanse with the green tea citrus cleanser, or if you have the pomegranate and you're wearing makeup, maybe you can prep with the pomegranate cleanser and then the green tea citrus cleanser if you are a double cleanser like me. So the peel prep routine, this is what your clients are going to be doing 7 days or 14 days prior to the first service, the first chemical peel that you're going to be doing.
All right, so let's say now we have our client, we have qualified them for a peel, maybe we've done some enzymes on them, they're prepped. We need to decide what's going to be the best peel products to use, what's going to be the best series to use. So let's talk about some different options that we have and what might be best here. Now, the passion fruit series, this is not a chemical peel, but this can be a really great enzyme to actually use. And what this enzyme does, it has a peptide called collagen in it that stimulates blood flow and dermal warming. This is going to heat up your client's skin. Your client will get red and very warm for up to 3 hours. This is going to help stimulate those fibroblasts in the dermis to help stimulate collagen and elastin production. This, in a series, we typically recommend 6 treatments 1 week apart. So they'll come in once a week. You'll do the enzyme on them, and this is really great for firming the skin. But if you are going to stick to your actual chemical peels, you can see here on the screen the different chemical peels, what they're good for, and basically in a series how often you can do them. The 20% lactic series, this is going to be best for dry, sensitive skin, rosacea skin, and we can do this 1 week apart for 6 weeks. You'll notice again that magic number of 6 weeks. That is hitting a cell cycle, and you're really going to see some dramatic results in that week 4, 5, and 6. And so stick with it. Have your client stick with that and really commit to it. The 30% glycolic series, this is going to be really great for texture, anti-aging, closed comedones. And just like the lactic, we're going to do this 6 treatments 1 week apart. You can always adjust this depending on your client's comfort too. The cranberry turnover peel, this one is going to be really great for those true oily acne clients. And the beauty about this one, this can be done full face, it can be done sections or as a spot treater, so it's really versatile. And this can be done about every 2 weeks as needed. We'll talk a little bit more about this one specific when we get to it. And then our TCA, this one is definitely going to be done in 1 month apart. You are going to traditionally see some flaking and peeling on the skin, and we do not want to peeling skin. We want to give it some time to heal. So usually we're going to do about 3 treatments 1 month apart with these. So we'll be sharing some different ways that you can utilize all of these, or with our depigmentation series, you're actually going to use a combination of these during your series.
So let's go through the steps of a peel. Simplicity. How many steps are in a facial? How much laundry and dishes are in a facial? Not like that with not with a peel, not as much multitasking, which is fantastic. How's everybody doing? Can we get a thumbs up emoji? Everybody hanging in there. Doing good. Let's go through the steps of a peel. We have 5. 5 steps of a peel. First step is going to be double cleansing with appropriate cleansers. So your first cleanse is going to help remove makeup, etc. And then you're going to have your second cleanse, which we have some treatment cleansers, some more clinical cleansers to help prep the skin for service as well. Your second step is going to be degreasing the skin. We have an option of 70% isopropyl, not 30, not 50, not 99, 70% isopropyl. Why? Because isopropyl alcohol is really, really good at eliminating surface lipids and kind of stressing out the acid mantle. We love it, but it needs to kind of leave for a second so we can get greater product penetration. Or the glycolic and retinol pads. So you can prep, if you have a client that's really concerned with pigmentation, you can utilize the glycolic and retinol pads to help prep the skin. They do get kind of sudsy and sparkly with vellus hair, like especially in front of the ears, which is kind of fun. So if you've ever seen that, that's fun. One thing also with step number 2 is going to be your occlusive. So you're going to apply your occlusive. This is going to be Vaseline, or Vaseline is usually the most common because it's just one ingredient and it's usually inert. So you're just going to include any areas that are open. If a client did an extraction, the night before or a week before and it's still kind of sensitive, or any areas you do not wish to have the peel penetrate, you're going to occlude after degreasing. Then you're going to apply the SkinScript peel of choice based on clients' concerns and skin conditions and their goals. So with brush or gauze. So our alpha hydroxy acids, our glycolic lactic can be applied with our signature synthetic fan brush or gauze. You definitely get a little bit more control with the brush and you get more product applied because you do want the skin to be glossy but not dripping. And since it's not timed, having the alphas applied with a brush is going to be an easier, faster choice to get that product on the skin quickly. With gauze, gauze is going to be utilized strictly with the TCA because this is layer dependent and layerable, and you can actually physically push product into the skin utilizing rough gauze, which is really cool. Our cranberry turnover peel is best applied with a brush because it is in a creamy kind of consistency. Fourth step is going to be neutralizing if applicable. So our lactic and glycolic peels require neutralization after 10 minutes, after 7 minutes max. Our salicylic requires a 10-minute, up to 10-minute, you can leave that on the skin for up to 10 minutes. So many minutes. 60 minutes? No. But our lactic and glycolic peels require neutralization and removal after 7 minutes. So you will have to rinse and remove those peels. The salicylic, our cranberry turnover peel, requires a cream removal. So if a client can have it on the skin for up to 10 minutes, usually more tolerable in a spot treatment, we need to remove the cream, but we are not neutralizing the peel. Our TCA does not require removal. It is self-neutralizing. Cranberry turnover and TCA will self-neutralize after 8 hours. So we want to leave those on the skin for 8 hours. And if it's during the day, you can apply sheer protection SPF 30. But if it's in the evening, you would apply nothing. And this usually is where people feel like we're controversial because we don't apply any product post-peel. But it's to keep the peels simple and to help navigate and kind of hopefully mitigate around any possible reactions. So when you are doing your treatment notes, you can go through all the products that you used, and we don't apply a bunch of stuff post-peel because we just want the peel to work within the skin and kind of leave the peel and the skin to kind of have their romance, and then we can go through our post-care with our clients and what our expectations are post-treatment. But just sheer protection SPF 30, and sheer protection SPF 30 does not neutralize our peels. The sheer protection SPF 30 helps to protect the skin. It is a mineral base. It's really, really nice because the zinc base actually helps to kind of cool the skin and not pull any heat within the skin. So it's a really, really, really great SPF post-peel to keep the skin cool with that mineral SPF.
And after this slide, we're going to start going into the protocols. And you also have some resources online in your account. Everybody should have access to your PDF online, and that's the training manual, the PDF version of that. And you will see all the protocols listed in that training manual. So I know we're throwing a lot of information at you, but you can always go to that PDF and see step by step. We also do have the Learning Center. In the Learning Center, we also have step-by-step video in the chemical peel class. So lots of resources. So I know we're throwing a lot of information at you, but there's a lot of different resources that you can always go back. You can also always call us. So before we get to the actual step-by-step of each peel, we're going to talk about some things that can happen during these peels. So on the screen, you can see two examples here of blanching and frosting. Blanching is going to occur with your AHAs. This can happen with your lactic or your glycolic. And this is where sometimes you're going to see in that photo there, those tiny little vesicles, those little, almost like little white blisters there. That is typically where maybe the skin has had some past breakouts or some past trauma where that acid's just kind of taken hold into that spot. Nothing to freak out about. Your client is just going to be a little more sensitive in that area. Your client might actually get some flaking and peeling in that area. So if you see that on your client, just point it out to the client, show them, let them know that that area is going to need just a little more extra hydration, a little bit more love, and they might actually get a little more flaking and peeling in that section.
It's not hypopigmentation.
Yeah, don't freak out. Frosting occurs with our BHA and our TCA. We can see this happening. And this can be where the actual oil of the peel is starting to dissolve the oils on the skin. This is like coagulating the skin, and it shows up as this white shimmer. You can see the arrows there. That is a great example of what frosting looks like. With the TCA, as you're going layer by layer, you may get up to maybe layer 4 and you might see frosting occur. If you see frosting occurring, that is just going to tell you, okay, we're going to stop. We're not going to add any more acid to this client's face at that point. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It's just sometimes it occurs and it's just an endpoint. So if you see frosting on the client with the TCA, we stop. We're not going to add any more layers. We're also going to let that client know they might have a little bit more flaking and sensitivity in that area. So again, you can point it out to them. This cannot be brushed off the skin. It will disappear on its own. So if the client's trying to like flake it off, it's not going to flake off the skin there. So let them know, just again, not to touch their face. With the salicylic, the cranberry turnover peel, that's a cream base. So you're not going to probably see the frosting until you remove it. And a lot of times you're going to see frosting around where maybe there was a breakout, maybe where the skin has kind of been dry and flaky. So blanching and frosting are important to know, but they can happen, and just point out to your client and let them know in those areas they might be just a little bit more sensitive.
They're kind of cool, actually. Yeah. And frosting will be subtle, especially like with our TCA. It will be very, very subtle, so always have a mag lamp available so you can check out the skin in between your layers.
Yeah, your peels are going to be done usually with a bright light, mag lamp. You want to be able to see. It's not like the spa facial where it's nice and quiet and, so. This is a video of our peel prep. So we talked about the steps of a facial. Now we're going to break down. And here on our model, Mariana, we are starting our first cleanse on her here. And you're going to choose a cleanser that's appropriate for the client. A lot of times a green tea cleanser can be a beautiful first cleanser. The green tea citrus cleanser is going to be acid-free, full of antioxidants, and it's just going to really give the skin a nice, great for removing makeup and just giving the skin a nice, fresh, clean feel. And we really want to make sure we're getting all the makeup off of our clients. So this first cleanser can really help with that. Think of this as really preparing your canvas. You want to make sure that the skin is very clean, so that way when we're putting on the peels, we're getting the best penetration possible with that. So we're going to go ahead and remove this. And typically with peels, we're not going to use heat. So we can remove with 4x4s, as you're seeing here, and some water. If you are going to use a towel to remove, just make sure it's not hot. We don't want to add a lot of excess heat to the skin. So you can use 4x4s. You can also use a towel, but just make sure it's not like a steam towel.
It doesn't have to be a cold towel.
Yeah.
Cold towels sometimes don't feel very good.
They don't feel good. Not all. Maybe in the summer.
Not in the winter.
Yeah, but not in the winter, but just not hot. Okay. Our second cleanse we're going in, this is going to be usually with a treatment cleanser here on Mariana. We're using our glycolic cleanser. This is going to be a 17% glycolic. And this is really going to help prep the skin. It's going to help kind of start to break down those desmosomes. And is really going to be great for a prep. If you were using maybe on a client who was really oily acneic, you could also use our raspberry refining cleanser. That's a combination of glycolic and salicylic. So in our training manual, you will see all of our different cleansers, different options. You also have a lot of resources, like we said, the training manual online, or you can go in the Learning Center too and learn more about each of our cleansers if you're maybe not too familiar with them, and that'll help you make a proper selection. So we finished that second cleanse there, and here you can see we are going to remove with a towel. This is just a warm towel here, so we just don't want to add any excess heat, but it's important. We want to really make sure we get all that cleanser off our client's skin at this point. And so we're just going to go ahead and remove this off of Mariana here. And you'll notice we are wearing gloves. It's really important when you're doing your peels that you do have your gloves on.
No glove, no love.
The gloves are going to be really important because the last thing you want to do is have peeling fingertips. Even if you're just doing facials, wearing gloves is a preference. There are certain things that you do definitely always want to wear gloves when you're doing peels, when you're doing advanced treatments, waxing, things like that. But if you are doing a lot of facials and you're using a lot of our glycolic cleanser a couple times a day, watch out your fingertips, because that can really start to make them kind of get a little flaky and peeling. And that's not going to feel great for you or your client there. Okay, so now we're moving to that second step, which is the degreasing. So on one side, we have that 70% isopropyl alcohol. The other side, we have the glycolic retinol pads. And degreasing, we really want to remove all those lipids from the skin. So we want to use a nice firm pressure to make sure we're kind of getting everything off. The benefit of the glycolic retinol pads is those have the arbutin and kojic in them. So those are going to add in a little bit more of those tyrosinase inhibitors.
Bangs.
There's my bangs. So here we're doing our occlusion step. So we're taking our Vaseline here and we're applying it to the lips. We can apply it to the nostrils or anywhere else where we don't want that acid to go. If the client had picked something open earlier that morning, or they had got a nick or a cut, we're going to want to make sure we occlude that step.
Look how perfect her skin is. She already has perfect skin.
I know. She's 19. If you're ever at some trade shows, you'll probably see Mariana working in our booth. So if you're listening, Mariana, hello. We miss you. So this is going to be the prep for all of our peels. So once you know how to do the prep, you know how to do this for all of our peels. So let's actually move into each specific peel here. And again, we've got Mariana, and we are doing the 20% lactic lightning peel. So this is 20% lactic, but you'll also notice we have added our arbutin and kojic in here. This is going to help with brightening of the skin, hyperpigmentation. So this peel can be a really great option for maybe a first-time client, maybe somebody who has normal, drier, or even a sensitive skin type. And this is going to help brighten the skin. Now, with our lactic and our glycolic peel, you're typically not going to get flaking on the skin like you will see with the TCA or maybe the cranberry turnover peel. These are going to be more microscopic exfoliation. So earlier we said we might ask our client, can you peel? And if our client says, well, I really can't peel a lot, this could be a great option for somebody who wants a brightening series with not a lot of peeling. So you can see here we're applying this with our fan brush, and we want to put a really nice application on the skin. It's important because this is timed up to 7 minutes. As soon as you start your application, you want to start your timer.
And this is just on a loop, by the way.
On a loop.
We're not doing multiple layers.
So as soon as you start that application, go ahead and hit your timer. That way, if it takes you a minute to apply your peel, you know you're a minute in, and you're not going to start your timer afterwards and end up going over your time. So we're going to apply a nice layer of this, and you can see this on the skin. So you want to avoid it. Don't get it too close to the eyes because the peel will travel a little bit. And again, we have our occlusion there, so anywhere we don't want it to go, that's going to help protect it. Once we've reached our desired time, up to 7 minutes, we can go ahead and remove this peel. And we can do this by dipping our 4x4s in our neutralization solution and starting to remove. We're going to remove and do one pass and then throw those out. You want to throw those in the trash. We do not want to re-dip into that neutralization solution because that can change the pH of it. We recommend usually doing 3 passes of removal and then checking in with your clients and asking your clients, do you feel any sensation? Do you feel any areas that you still feel tingling or maybe a little heat on the skin? And continue to remove until the client no longer feels any sensation on the skin. Your last step, if it was during the day, we would put our shear protection SPF 30 on them. If it was evening time, we're just going to send them home. And then in the morning, they're going to go ahead and go into their post-care, which we'll talk about in just a little bit.
So our 30% glycolic peel is just the same thing as the lactic, the same application, timing, removal that Michael had discussed, but just different ingredients. So the 30% glycolic peel contains 30% glycolic acid. Glycolic acid is fabulous at dissolving desmosomes. So those cell bonds, we're going to help loosen those up to help increase and expedite cell renewal. Great for texture, hyperkeratinized skin, pustules, closed comedones. This also contains some fructooligosaccharides, which are a carbohydrate age, or also known as prebiotics, to help feed and strengthen the healthy probiotic bacteria on the skin. So really excellent for skin microbiome. But the glycolic peel definitely has a little bit of a low pH, if you see that. So sensation is going to be normal. The glycolic and lactic peels will have more of a tingling sensation, or the salicylic and TCA can be warm. So with this particular peel, this is excellent for those perhaps who are really concerned with the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, texture, and perhaps clients that have acne but cannot utilize salicylic acid. So same application, neutralization, and finishing products as the lactic, same application as the lactic. As you see with Keith here, and we're like, oh, we're applying it to a man with a beard. Yes, but if you notice, it's not being applied along the jaw where the hair is a little bit more dense. We want to apply the peel to areas where that peel can have contact with the skin and we can remove it appropriately. So amazing. Keith has amazing skin. He's an amazing model. And this peel is really, 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 really excellent for improving texture.
Also, with your male clients, make sure you tell them not to shave 24 hours before any service.
Or after. They're just going to have to grow.
All right, our cranberry turnover peel. So this is our 20% salicylic peel. This is going to be a spicy peel. This is probably about an 8 on our tingle factor scale. Your client's really going to feel this one, and it's going to be quite tingly, and it might be a little warm on the skin. So here on our model, Messiah, you can see that pink looking cream. This is in a cream base. This is going to help so it doesn't penetrate as quickly. It also helps it make it so it's safe for all Fitzpatricks. So you can use this on all Fitzpatricks. And you're also getting, we have some cranberry fruit that we've added into this, which helps as an antioxidant, also gives some antibacterial properties to it. So with this peel, we are going to use a brush and we're going to apply it in the area that we need it for. Now here you can see we're putting it on him full face. A lot of times you're just going to be applying it to a section, or you might just spot treat an area. If the client is not oily or does not have like oil over their face or acne, we really don't want to apply this full face because it gets quite warm quite quickly. It can stay on the skin up to 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, we're going to start to remove it. You can see in the video here, we're removing with the 4x4s. Again, there's my bangs.
Bang.
We're gonna remove it with 4x4s. And just one little tip, when you add water to salicylic, it gets warmer, and this is going to be quite warm on the client's face already. So if you're doing like a full face, what I recommend is use dry 4x4s just to pick up the cream and wipe off the cream. Then go in with wet 4x4s and do some good passes and rinses. You do not need to neutralize this. This is self-neutralizing, but we do need to remove the cream and get it all off the face. So you do need to use just water to rinse the face here, as you can see. This is going to be self-neutralizing. We are going, if it's daytime, we are going to put the Sheer Protective SPF 30 on our client. If it's nighttime, then we're not going to do anything else to the skin. This is really going to be great for oil control, for congestive skin, cystic acne. And so if a client just has maybe an area on their jawline, we could focus this on the jawline. We could even just spot treat one area. Full face, I will be honest, is quite intense. And so please only utilize that if that is appropriate for that type of client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have our beloved TCA depigmentation peel, our 10% TCA. So we have our trichloroacetic acid, so our keratolytic acid. All of our acids are going to be keratolytic, so they're going to be dissolving dead skin cells and helping to increase our cell turnover rates. So TCA helps to retexturize, helps to brighten, and helps to tackle acne. So texture, color, acne, remember with our TCA. And we have included some really amazing skin brighteners, azelaic acid, arbutin, and kojic. So these are tyrosinase inhibitors, and tyrosinase is the enzyme that stimulates the melanocyte to produce melanin. So this is more of a tranquilizer and sedative for that tyrosinase to really help relax the melanocyte, to help prevent post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation during the peeling process. So the application with the TCA, we are going to apply this with rough gauze, not aesthetic wipes, but you want rough gauze. And we're going to kind of do an application where we're not overlapping. We want to do an application to where very similar to if you're dermaplaning or doing microdermabrasion, where you're just doing one pass over a part of the skin, because if you do multiple passes over multiple parts, you're doing multiple layers. So you want to wait 5 minutes in between each layer of the TCA before applying your next layer. It's usually recommended, if you are utilizing TCA for the first time, especially within the series, 1 to 2 layers is what's recommended regardless of tolerance. And then you can move through the series as you need to. As you go through, you want to make sure and check the client for frosting, check the client for pooling, check for client comfort and for your comfort as well as you move up through the layers.
Tina, what's pooling?
Pooling is when the skin stops absorbing product. It just starts to pool on the skin, and within the 5 minutes, it just looks like it has not absorbed. So we want to make sure that everything looks good before we move forward with another layer. Since this is not removable, your client is this is going to be left on the client's skin. It's going to neutralize over 8 hours. Then you're going to go through client post-care. So if you do it at 9 o'clock in the morning, they're going to leave it on for 8 hours, and then you're going to guide them through their post-care. And then, or if you do it at night, they can sleep in this, get them a new pillowcase, and all that stuff. Kind of like sleeping in a spray tan. You can sleep in your TCA and then have your post-care in the morning. If it is during the day, you can apply the Sheer Protection SPF 30 without fear of neutralizing the peel or inhibiting any peel penetration. And they work well together. Or in the evening, you will just have that TCA depigmentation peel on the skin. The more layers you apply, the more sensation is going to be achieved. And it's also really important to remember that sensation does not equate efficacy. So if clients feel a lot of sensation, it doesn't mean it's too strong. Or if clients feel no sensation, means it's too weak. It means everyone's level of pain or just sensation varies. I'm a very highly sensitive person. So I went up to 4 layers of TCA, but it was for educational purposes. It wasn't for comfort.
She was gritting her teeth.
So super fun. So with the TCA hyperpigmentation series, we do have some before and afters, which are epic, which we've showed in all of our classes. This is a client. She was compliant with the home care, so she did the prep and she did the home care routine. Let's check out some things about her skin. So she has some pigmentation here, a significant amount of pigmentation on both sides. If we notice, they're pretty much on high points of the face, so could be from outdoor activity in conjunction with perhaps melasma. We can see some textural issues, and overall the skin just looks a little bit dull, a little lackluster. So we had her prep, I believe, a little over a week with the pre and post home care kit, so tyrosinase inhibitors and SPF. And during the TCA hyperpigmentation series, you can notice that there is some clarity happening within the skin as well. I feel like I'm almost talking like I'm at a basketball game. Like,
she shoots a score.
I was like, yay! And if you notice, there's some pigmentation over on the left.
We need the little marker so we can draw.
I watch so much basketball and not by choice. So I definitely felt like I was channeling a little bit of that. But you can see the pigmentation there kind of deepening, and it's important that we remind our clients as pigmentation starts to shift and lift, it will appear darker because it's moving closer to the surface of the skin. It's now moving from the stratum spinosum up into the stratum corneum. So pigmentation will get a little bit darker before it gets lighter, which is awesome. So this is during the service, and she's keeping up with her post-care and keeping up with the series. And then these are the results. So what's kind of incredible about this is, yes, pigmentation is significantly reduced. Her skin tone is much more even, but she also looks younger. So you can see the improvement in the texture along the lower cheeks. You can see the improved texture on the cheeks. You can see the improved texture of the forehead. Just beautiful, beautiful results. So if you have ever done the TCA pigmentation series, hit us up. Let us know. If you have those before and afters with your clients, we'd love to see them because they are real and they can happen. And it's probably one of our most popular series that we have. And it's so incredible. So there's the before side by side with the after.
Isn't that amazing?
Like she aged backwards. Yeah. Incredible. That is the same client.
Yeah.
The same client.
It's not AI.
No, not AI. Dude, she is stoked.
That would be a very, very happy client at that point, for
yes.
sure. So here, our SPF application. Our sheer protectant SPF is a zinc, and it needs to be applied properly. And you can see here in the video on Keith, the first thing we did with this is we took a little bit and put it in our fingertips and warmed it up. We need to warm the zinc up, and this is going to, the best way to do it is just do some soft circles with it. It doesn't like a lot of friction. And you'll feel it like start to kind of change a little bit in texture. And then we're going to dot it around the face. And then in the video, you can see that one of the important things, I laugh, he's just smiling there, is I'm pressing and rolling it, pressing and patting it into the skin. We do not want to smear this in like a lotion or a cream or to kind of roll and break. But when you press and pat it, you can see there, it just completely warms up to any skin tone and should just completely disappear. This is going to give him great protection. With any SPF, we always want to make sure that we reapply after 2 hours.
This leaves a nice matte kind of finish on the skin, and it will feel heavy. So we know people have a love-hate relationship with our sunscreen. Application's going to be key. It needs a little romance for application, and take your time. This isn't quick and dirty.
Yeah.
This needs some finesse. It needs some love, and make sure, like in this video for peels, you keep your gloves on when you do the sunscreen and it peels. We see a lot of people take their gloves off their hands. Keep your gloves on for the entire service. If you're going to continue touching the face, especially with SPF application, you need to have your gloves on for this, so that way they get all the goodness. All the goodness. It has weight, but it feels like a weighted blanket.
Like a hug for your face.
Comfort. Perfect. Am I talking about post-peel care?
Yep, that's all you.
Okay. So post-peel care with your lactics and your glycolics, this is also in that trifold that's found in the pre and post-peel care kit. So with your lactic, I shouldn't say lactics and glycolics, it's just lactic and glycolic. There's just one of them. These little to no flaking, super superficial. If you're wondering what superficial is, it's meaning on the surface, and you usually won't see any visible flaking here. So these are best done in a series, a week apart or 7 to 10 days apart. They're best done in a series of 6 or sometimes even 8. It's really important to get those results because the lactic lightening peel also has some arbutin and kojic, so it is a beautiful brightening peel. So if your clients cannot do a TCA, the lactic lightening peel, if you have used it, let's see some sparkle emojis. I know the sparkle emojis are out there. It can be a magic wand. It can be straight up sparkling, but the lactic lightening peel is incredibly brightening, especially for clients if they can't utilize the TCA due to downtime. It's really important to use SPF, and when will your clients start to see results? In about 28 days, so they'll probably hit that first cell cycle to start to see some shifts and changes, and then we go into a second cell life cycle with a series of 6, so you'll see some results there too. What's also kind of fun with post-peel care with lactic and glycolic, in some cases, especially in the in-person classes, it's almost like it never happened, which can be kind of interesting because you want to remind your clients of post-care. They did get a chemical peel, but they're incredibly comfortable and they're just not fussy. Post-peel care with the cranberry turnover and TCA, you'll notice there's more downtime with this. And you'll also notice that we eliminate the exfoliants to be used with these services. So you can continue to use exfoliants with the glycolic and lactic peel series. Maybe you use them once a week in between the peeling services just to kind of prep. Maybe day 3 is a good one, but we want to eliminate all exfoliants if we're utilizing the cranberry turnover peel in a series or the TCA, because the downtime in the peeling is going to be more significant and the skin will go through a full healing process, especially with multiple layers of the TCA. So the glycolic cleanser, the glycolic and retinol pads, and the retinol scrub in the pre and post peel care kit is going to be unused if you have a client that perhaps has an exfoliant addiction. Maybe we talked about that in the consultation, or maybe they just feel like they need a little bit more, because we know some people feel that way. Just have them bring their exfoliants to you and you keep them for safekeeping. So this has a list of day 1 to day 10 of how the skin can go through a full peeling and healing process with our cranberry turnover, our 20% salicylic, and our 10% TCA depigmentation peel. The post-peel routine, man, it's so relaxing. It's so refreshing because your clients are just going to keep the skin clean, keep the skin hydrated, and keep the skin protected during the peel series. So this isn't just post-peel after the series. This is in between each peel service that you provide. So they're going to be cleansing in the morning and evening with the green tea citrus cleanser. They are going to be toning with the cucumber toner in the morning. I have had questions, can they use it at night? Yes, we all know you're obsessed with the cucumber hydration toner. Like we could tell you no. Hydrate with the Cactine Balancing Moisturizer, and then Sheer Protection SPF 30 during the day. So your job as the professional is to provide those peeling services. Your client's job is to keep the skin clean, hydrated, and protected in between those peeling services. And this is such a refreshing kind of routine that shouldn't be stressful at all. It actually should feel really, really, really good. You'll notice no exfoliants for your TCA or cranberry, but clients can utilize the retinol scrub, the glycolic cleanser, and the glycolic and retinol pads in between the glycolic and lactic peels in a series, but just be mindful and modify. If you don't think your clients can handle it, you make that choice. I would exfoliate in between, but I'm a professional.
So some things to avoid also after a chemical peel, you can see listed there: sun exposure. Hopefully we've already talked to our clients about the importance of wearing SPF, but especially for the 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, they really want to be diligent about this. Exercise. I find the hardest people to peel are the people who love to work out every day.
I'm so glad I don't work out.
I know, and we just love to eat.
We just love to eat and peel.
We probably should be working out every day. But the people who can't miss a day of exercising, they may not be a candidate for a peel, because a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, I'll just do a light exercise. And we know what we don't want to do is we don't want to put any heat in the skin. And especially if we've done like a TCA, we don't want our client to sweat.
We don't want to raise core body temperature.
We want to make sure that, the client is keeping themselves cool. That's also why we don't want to use whirlpools and hot tubs or any type of heat. If our client's saying, oh, I'm going to go sit in the sauna afterwards, absolutely not.
And that happens. Infrared saunas are really popular right now, and people go into a sauna every day, not if you're going to do a peel series.
And then picking and pulling, this is really important to have a discussion. When your client, if they've had a TCA and they've got a lot of flaking skin, they're really going to be tempted to go in and just pull that skin. And that can cause some really bad post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, some scarring. So have that conversation with them to leave that alone. Just naturally let it come off. And
get them a fidget spinner.
Especially if they're a picker. If they're a picker, they may not be that candidate for a peel too. Or this type of peel. So make sure your client really understands what they need to avoid. And if for some reason something happens, make sure your client can get a hold of you. This is really important. If I'm doing a TCA on my client and I'm not going to see them for like a month, I don't want to just wait a month and say, hey, how was that peel? I'm going to usually do a TCA. I'm going to follow up with them the next couple of days. I want to see how they're peeling, make sure they don't have any questions, remind them about their home care, remind them about avoiding exercise, sun, heat.
TikTok. Avoid TikTok.
Avoid TikTok. And so it's really important to make sure you're available for your clients too. Clients, if it's their first time peel, can sometimes spiral and think something's gone wrong. So have them come in, have them take a video, have them FaceTime you, whatever it is, and so you could see what's going on with their skin. And over that next 30 days before we're going to see them again, we would need to make sure that they're continuing their home care. And during the series and after the series especially, this is to let them know we got to go in and probably do some maintenance. We need to continue with our home care. We need to go back into maybe doing our professional treatments with our enzymes too. So just really be available for that client and let them know that you're there and you're with them through the process. For making sure to set up success to get the best outcomes, hopefully you've already talked to your client about expectations. So they have a realistic idea of what they're responsible for and how long it's actually going to take to see results. Remind them of that 28-day cell cycle. And have those before and after photos ready. Good before and afters can really help you, especially if the client says, I don't know if I'm really seeing a difference in my skin. And make sure they give it that full series. They might get into the first 3 and go, I'm not seeing a really big change, but they're really going to hang in there and see that change towards the end of their series.
And share those before and afters with other clients too.
And I love this. I take a progressive rather than aggressive approach to skincare. I think this is really important because we know we can't make changes in the skin overnight. It does take time.
And we're all about building confidence because we are practicing estheticians. Even if you've been practicing for a decade, 2 decades, 4 decades, we are still practicing. And chemical peels may be new and brand new for you. So if you're brand new, start slow with mild peels, or if you're brand new to us, start with our mild peels, our glycolic and lactic first, and get really, really comfy with those, and then learn and build from your experience utilizing those particular peels. They're great because they don't have downtime. And the commitment that's required with your client, they still have to listen to you and they still have very important pre and post care, but their downtime is different and a little bit more flexible utilizing the glycolic and lactic. And then based on your experience, then you can start customizing and doing advanced treatments like the alpha beta peel. And don't feel like you need to start with the most advanced peels. Love social media, but sometimes we see and clients will see all these really hardcore treatments happening, and even other new estheticians will start to see all these really hardcore estheticians do hardcore seasoned estheticians doing hardcore advanced treatments. You please don't feel pressure. You have to go in and do all these really intensive services to get results. Go with what you're comfortable with and start slow and mild, and continue your education and research is going to be successful. Don't feel like you have to start doing hardcore stuff to get hardcore results. It's all about progression, not perfection.
Enjoy the journey. So our chemical peel policy, you do need to be licensed to purchase our chemical peels. So if you're currently a student, hang on. Once you get your license, you can submit that with us, and then you'll be able to purchase those chemical peels. We have a lot of great resources for you in your account. We've talked a lot today about our Learning Center. In our Learning Center, we do have 3 courses in there that are really great, that break down our professional products, our retail products, and then there is a full chemical peel workshop online in there for you. And that is a great resource. So maybe you've listened to this today and you picked up some things, but you want to start to do peels. Go back on and take that course, or go back and click on the TCA and use it as a reminder before you do your first treatment there. You also have access to that PDF training manual. In there, you're going to see all your protocols listed, so you have your step-by-step. So if there's something maybe you missed today or you're confused, you can definitely check that out. With your account, again, you can also order online. You can do those drop shipping to your clients, and also look for any different monthly specials that we have going on. We love education, as we said, and investing in yourself through education is really important. And we have many different types of online classes like this with the chat available to you that are free. And so check out our calendar there. You can scan that and see all the online classes. We have the Learning Center, which we've talked about, which is nice. It's on demand, self-paced. And then we have a lot of live classes. If you're going to be in Chandler, Arizona, or you want to have a fun trip and come and visit Tina and I.
Not in the summer.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's cheaper in the summer, I will tell you that.
It's cheaper in the summer, but be prepared,
Be ready.
We're going to be in an oven.
We have some great options for classes. We have a product knowledge class. We have our Skintensive 2-day class. That is a 2-day theory class that'll blow your mind. It's a lot of information, but really great, going over skin histology.
Has anyone out there been to our Skintensive here in Chandler? Has anyone been in our classes in Chandler? Let us know.
Go ahead and put your hands up in the emoji there. We do have a superficial chemical peel class. So if you're going to be in town, or if you're local and you really want to get a little bit
peel
more,
someone's face off,
you'll get the theory. And then, yes, in the afternoon, we do hands-on trades. And then, Tina, why don't you talk about the Reboot class?
The Reboot class is a 3-day hands-on class. So if you haven't been practicing in a while, or we have a lot of SCs that have just done lashes for the past few years, I want to get back into skincare. It's a lovely refresher course. Great for cosmetologists who want to get back into skincare. Just a really nice kind of bonding experience. Only 12 people in the class, so we do 2 days, actually 3 days of hands-on, because the superficial chemical peel class is on the 3rd day.
It's an amazing class. And then we also will be doing some regional trainings this year. So check out the webpage, go back and look often and see what's going on maybe in your area, or come out and have a nice trip to Arizona with us. And we also have some webinars. We have, to continue your education, you can do things like webinars. Networking groups are great, and the trade shows can be really amazing. We are at pretty much most of the major trade shows, and we do offer classes there at the trade shows that are for free too. All right, so when you have questions, call us, email us. We are known for our customer service. We love our customer service because they are actually licensed estheticians. So you can call us with questions. You can, if you're not quite sure where to find a resource, we are here to help you out. We do answer the phone Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And please give us a call. Email us photos, pictures, whatever you need. We're here to help you out. And just to remind you too, we do have no minimum. So if you're new to our line and want to try some things out, you can definitely do that. With all of our shipping, orders over $49 are going to be free shipping. And under that is just going to be a flat fee of $7.
Groovy, groovy. So together we are a team, and the team starts with you. And with you, and these are important things that we like to talk about just to make sure that we're well-rounded professionals. Education is incredibly important. What's interesting is in Arizona, State Board doesn't require continuing education for us to maintain our licenses, but you can definitely have access to continuing education and resources to help further your education, because education is incredibly empowering. It really helps develop your practice personally, professionally. Education is really important to us here at SkinScript, so we love offering you affordable education and connection with us. And with education comes experience. So I know a lot of new estheticians out there feel like they have to have the latest and the greatest and be super hardcore at everything. I've said hardcore like ad nauseum this presentation, but experience is something you build. You just don't get experience. You have to go through the particular process of experience and build your experiences, because when you start practicing, maybe 5 years from now, your practice is not going to be the same. Maybe your experience is going to shift, and maybe you went from being, just a facialist to wanting to go into a med spa. So build on your experience and kind of enjoy that process. And when you have good quality education and when you're going through your experiences, it can reignite your passion and your passion for skincare and your passion for your clients. If there's anything you ask, probably every esthetician, what's the main thing? It's like they're incredibly passionate about it. And passion is definitely a driving force for us. Passion for our clients, passion for the industry. We uplift each other, and we're a really small community. And we love each other. So we're very blessed that a lot of the classes that we have in Chandler that estheticians have come to have reignited their passion for the industry and passion for skincare services. And the other piece is SkinScript support. You will always have us available to help you with the products, product usage, how to use the products. We will also help you with critical thinking. Critical thinking is important because we cannot be there with you in the treatment room, but we can give you the tools such as the products and product information so you can achieve results, so you can do customized treatments for your clients. We'll give you the client intake form and consent form so you can better prepare for services. So you have our support available. And, you and us, we make a good team. And please stay connected. We have a beautiful website. So please connect through us through our website. You can connect with us on social media. We love social media. We have these hashtags here that you can connect with and utilize. Please share your before and afters with us. Tag us in those. We love to share those. We love shout outs. We love celebrations. We love the love. So please stay connected with us here. And thank you so much for joining us.
We hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Make good choices.